All right, next up, let me find the banner for him. Syracuse. Alex, what do you think about Syracuse this year? I have interesting thoughts about Syracuse.
Oh man, maybe you should just go. I really don't. I remember I was trying to think about this roster and I couldn't. I don't know how big of a fan of JJ Starling I am, which I feel like really influences my perception of this roster.
Sure.
And so I think Donnie Freeman's really good. I think he's going to kind of rock in the front court next to Lampkin. I don't know. This feels like one where please correct me if I'm wrong, maybe one of those teams in the ACC with a higher ceiling, but definitely a way lower floor. There's a smattering of kind of outcomes for Red Autry's second season. So
for sure.
Because that I think is what I've really kind of struggled with, and I guess if the defense is also up to snuff when you lose Maliq Brown to Duke. So yeah, I'll let you expound a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of I think there is a wide range of outcomes for this Syracuse team. But after looking through it, I think I've settled more on the positive end for Syracuse, which I didn't really expect going in. I think I ended up being a little bit higher on this team than I think most people are. The big loss is obviously Judah Mintz, who opted to go pro. A bunch of other guys transferred, but I still think they're going to be okay. I think the Jaquan Carlos ad from Hofstra is so fun. Just a pure point guard. He averaged over 6 assists a game last year, set the CAA single game record with 19 assists in a single game last year. So as far as guys you want running the show, and he can score a little bit when he needs to. I think he averaged 10 points a game last year, but I mean, it's not nothing. As far as guys you want at the one, I think he's a fantastic option, a fantastic addition. You're right. JJ Starling is, who knows, really with JJ Starling, game to game, but he did score 13 points a game last year. And that's something. And I will happily take back a 13 points per game score, bring back Chris Bell. He had 12 points a game. And adding Eddie Lampkin, I don't think he's going to do anything incredible, but we know exactly what Eddie Lampkin is at this point. He's going to give you a solid, at least 8 and 8 every night. And you take that. And Eddie Lampkin has been kind of this anchor at the 5 for a bunch of teams that have made the tournament in the past. Thinking back to TCU, Colorado made the tournament last year. They had Donnie Freeman, who's a 5-star. They bring in Chance Westry from Auburn, who missed all of last season with injury. But I think he can definitely contribute if he ends up being as good as I think a lot of people expected, or even just a fraction of as good as a lot of people expected. Depth is definitely the big concern for me because kind of beyond their top 6 or 7, I'm just not really sure. But the starting group is pretty good, and I think will keep them competitive enough to where the season at a minimum won't just be a wash. I think they'll be at least a middle of the pack team, potentially fighting for a tournament spot. I'm not sure how bought in I am on Red Autry as a coach. And last year was kind of weird because, anytime you're transitioning from a legend, I think it gets pretty tough. And, he switched some things around just schematically with Syracuse that I think people weren't totally used to. And there were reportedly some locker room issues last year as well. So taking all of that, it's year 2. I'm not totally sure how bought in I am on the Autry experience, but I think there's a world where the team is okay. And I think the ceiling is they sneak into the tournament. That's what I think. I think the starting group, the first 5 or 6 guys are good enough to where I think they can make that happen. So that's where I am on Syracuse. I don't know if that's a crazy take for Syracuse, but I'm bought in a little bit. Defensively, who knows?
Yeah.
Who's to say? I think offensively they will be very fun. Just defensively, who knows?